Former Raila Odinga's chief agent in the 2022 elections, Saitabao Kanchiry, is dismissing Ruto Raila's handshake. At the same time, he is sending a very strong message to a Gikuyu community. Through a series of tweets on X platform, Saitabao Kanchiry is telling the Kikuyu community that in 2027, you must do everything possible to ensure that no one from the central region is going for top seat, that is for president seat. So why is he saying this? Saitabao believes that the Ruto Raila coalition is an anti-Kikuyu coalition, and that is the reason, and should be the reason that the Kikuyu community must consider to forego a president in 2027 election. So this is what Saitabao has written on his X platform. The bread-based government is essentially an anti-Kikuyu coalition. To counter this, our Murima friends must not field a candidate in 2027 if we are really serious about sending must go home. They should not even go for DP. They will deny our opponents armor and allow anti-Ruto forces to unite. You see, in every places Ruto has gone, one of the things that comes, or one of the things that it tries to address, is about tribalism. We want to bring people together, tutaki ukabila and all that. But Ruto is saying this while back his government is full of nepotism and tribalism. So Ruto is just trying to be a strategic and a cunning Ruto, as he has always been. So Saitabao is telling the Kikuyu that, listen here, we know that you are very mad, we know that you are very angry, but in 2027 you must forego that president seat and the deputy seat if is possible. So latest report is Ruto is planning to tour the central region next week. He's going to make a stop over to several areas in the Mount Kenya region as a bid to try to at least ensure that he's not losing everything in the Mount Kenya region. We are waiting to see how his tour in the region is going to turn out to be. Is it going to be a friendly? Is it going to be a wild? We are waiting to see. But I know money will be poured. That one is one thing that I am sure of. So is Saitabao Kanchiry advice to Kikuyu something to consider? Yes, it is. You see now there have been this thing of student Nilot versus Bantu. I don't know if you've come across this conversation that they tried something to do with the student Nilot and the Bantus is what is going to determine the 2027 election, something like that. So the tribal card, Ruto is not putting that thing down. He's going to work with it until 2027, because that is the only thing that is going to save him, because he has done nothing. There is nothing that he will stand and tell us that I made this better, I made this, I found this in this situation, and now I improved to a certain level, to a certain situation. There is nothing. So the only thing that he wants to thrive in is tribalism. And tribalism has been something that politicians have been using for so long, since the way back, since we got independence. Tribalism is the card that politicians have been using to get elected. And this card, Ruto is not dropping it soon, because he knows that if the masses stop talking about tribalism, then it is the end of him. It is the end. It is completely the end for him. So he is not going to drop this card down. He will move with it. Every corner, every places that this route is going to go, the first thing first he will be saying is about tribalism, tulitole mtu ukabila. But in reality, we all know that there are even lists that normally goes viral on social media on how these government parastatals are head by one community. So who in this sense is tribal between Rigathi Gachagua and Ruto? Ruto is practicing it. Rigathi Gachagua is saying it. That is the difference. Yes, I'm not denying the fact that Rigathi Gachagua is tribal, but Rigathi Gachagua is saying it as it is. But for William Ruto, he is practicing it. So Kikuyu communities, to avoid being labeled as tribal, they must support somebody. They must in massive support another person in 2027 elections. Failure to do that, then they might be thrown down the hill, and it might take time for them to recover. You see, in 2027 elections, if you are keen, you will realize that we have people who are just trying to say that Kikuyu don't vote for anybody outside Mount Kenya region. But is this the case? Yeah, okay. They have been voting. In 2022, they voted Ruto. Ruto is not from the Mount Kenya region. They voted. I think Raila got a significant number from the Mount Kenya region. So it is not that they are so tribal, because when you compare, you make comparison on how the major three tribes votes in our country, and you are talking about the Kalenjins, the Luos, and the Kikuyus. Luo voted for Raila Odinga. I don't know the last time that anybody from outside Nyanza region got something to do with 500k votes, to do a million votes or something like that. So Luos have been voting for Raila Odinga. Kalenjins have been voting for Ruto, their own. Kikuyus have been voting their own. So in real sense, these big three tribes in Kenya normally vote for their own. But the thing that they're trying to convince us that Kikuyus are so tribal, I think, as I've said, it is something that they want to use it against Kikuyu, so that the other people from other communities will say, okay, and it is true, these people don't vote people from outside the Mount Kenya region. So this is something that the other team, the opposition team led by Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua, must be very careful about it. They must ensure that the public is not talking about tribalism. And I don't know, so far I think they are failing, because you go to social media, you see Kalenjin, Suju Meru, Suju Kambas, Suju cost votes and all that. This is the discussion that is currently happening. This is the kind of discussion that is currently happening on our social platforms, and this is dangerous. So this other team, the opposition team, must ensure that they bring in something. They bring that development issue-based kind of politics. They must ensure that Ruto is not getting a space to talk about tribalism, because if they failed to halt that, then Ruto is working with it in 2027. So this message from Saitabao to Kikuyu community, they must consider this message, and they must work on this. They must not field anybody in 2027 if they want to be safe. Then in 2032, they might make a comeback. But in 2027, they must support somebody from other community, because what this government is doing is trying to portray them as tribal. But in real sense, the top three tribes in Kenya have been tribal all along. Kenyans have been voting along tribal lines. So you cannot say that Kikuyus are tribal. No, the big three tribes have been voting people from their tribal line. So they are all tribal. So this is the very important message, if you ask me. But these must not, the Kina Kalonzo and Rigathi Gachagua must not assume this message. They must know that the only card that is going to propel Ruto to retain that seat is a tribal card. But if they manage to halt that, if they manage to put that down and let the masses discuss about health, the masses discuss about education, the masses discuss about insecurity, the masses discuss about infrastructure, then they will have something to do, because Kenyans are going through a lot in terms of everything, in terms of different sectors are failing this country. So these the Kanchiry regime must keep on reminding Kenyans how things are bad, how they're going to make it better. You say like that we must secure the pay slip. That is the kind of discussion that regime has not put it down to ensure that the civil servants remember, and in 2027 people are going to vote based on issue based. So this is a good message, and the Kikuyu community must ensure that this is what they should consider in 2027 elections. That is it for me for now. Thanks for watching. This is Sophia Live.